All right, so this is our first parts we've received for our upcoming FPV course build. And I just want to kind of go through what we've got here. So we're recommended to go with the TBS Mambo remote setup and also using the Crossfire transmitter system. And then there's a receiver for the drone side of it as well. So our first order was the controller, the transceiver, or transmitter, doesn't receive, sorry, and a pair of lithium batteries. So let's open everything up and kind of do the initial setup on it. So TBS is Team Black Sheep, and this is kind of like an open controller from my understanding, so it connects with pretty much everything out there. Like you can bind multiple drones, RC airplanes, you name it, it's all digital and smart. So you get a set of springs for the controllers, an Allen key for adjusting it, and then a throttle limit screw. There's the controller. You notice there's no external antennas by default. It's got a bunch of buttons and switches. So there's toggle switches up top, your standard sticks, and because it's like an FPV setup, it's not a return to center for the left throttle. You've got rate adjusters or switches, so you can digitally adjust them. You've got a multi-wheel, and then I think it's a push button, and then digital menu there. And then there's, looks like a on-off switch on the left side, and that's a momentary switch on the right side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are just rotary dials. There's a centering to them. That's not a button. That's a button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 buttons in total. And then there's a lanyard slot there. USB-C port. It'll charge over USB-C as well. And it has an audio out jack. I'm not sure what you use that for other than like, you can get warnings. This thing has like voice warnings and stuff as well, so it's probably more for hearing it in your ear, which would be good actually if you're racing in like a noisy environment. That makes sense. So on the back of the unit, you've got the battery bay door, and it takes 18650 lithium batteries. So we'll do that in a second. And then this is the module door. So I'm not going to put it on yet, but that's where the transmitter will go. So actually, let's put the batteries in. So these are 18650 lithium batteries, right? So they're rechargeable. There's positive and negative on it, so we'll put these in. There's one. And they're both positive to the right. There's the positive on it. You can see the lip. There's two. So let's put the battery back on. Okay, and we'll also put the transmitter module in. Let's see here. So there's a transmitter module. It's got a USB-C port as well for firmware and setting it up. And then old days, I'd say that's a crystal, but I believe it's a firmware chip or something. So it looks like USB headers because it's got ground, 3.3 volts, and then in and out. So I don't know what that does yet, but it's very tiny and it's probably important. So we'll keep it in the box so we don't lose it. There's the pins to connect, and you've got the pins on here. So we'll just make sure that we line that up straight. And just make sure that is square on there. Like that, click it in, and then the antenna can either go out of the way or just sit up like that. So we'll turn it on, we hold it down for 3 seconds. Or hold it down until the screen turns on.
Welcome to Mambo.
There we go.
Switch warning.
And we can turn all our switches off. We haven't bound anything, so at this point it wouldn't matter. So we'll just hit any key to skip. And there we go. So the state of charge, it looks like it's about half. So you can plug it in over USB to charge it. You don't need to have an external charger. Okay, so we're back. We're looking at the TBS Mambo controller. And so we've got the controller, but we haven't built our first drone yet. So one of the cool things you can do with the TBS Mambo, because it's got this USB-C port, is we can actually plug it into our computer, and we'll just use a USB-C cable here to C. That plugs into the side here. And when the controller powers up, you're gonna see, you can choose, is this for firmware updating, charging, storage, or to be a joystick? So we'll use it as a joystick. So we're gonna turn off the transmitter. So I hit enter, and there we go. So this is Drone Racing League. It's a sim for drones. So we'll just go into freestyle, go to a map here real quick, and we will just open something up. And what you do is you bind the controller as if it were a normal joystick. So the controls are gonna be more or less, it's an analog to the real world drone flying, so you get a chance to actually kind of get used to the muscle memory of flying your drone. So we'll just bring this down here. And graphics aren't gonna be super amazing because this laptop's not super high powered, but let's see if I can do this without. So you've got the stick controls are the same, right? You've got pitch, roll, yaw, throttle. So you can do moves around in the freestyle. You can do a roll, you can crash. And if you need to reset the drone, I've bound the switch so that I can reset it. So then you've got some opportunities to kind of work your way through it and get used to flying the drone without rebuilding your drone every time you mess up. So you've got some capability. Some people fly with their thumbs. Some people, and I think most people fly with their thumb and forefinger. It's something that I need to switch myself to because I've been flying lots of GPS style drones. So I'm still getting used to the idea of flying a FPV with larger sticks. The nice thing about using the Mambo instead of like an Xbox controller or a game controller is this will have the same weight as when you're flying the real world drone. So you're going to get used to kind of the way that these controls feel and the tension and the spring rates and everything. So you've got some capability to get used to it. So yeah, that's one easy way to learn to fly a drone. There's a bunch of simulators out there. This is DRL's Racing Simulator. It's about $30 on Steam. It's on Xbox as well. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm not sure if this would work as a USB controller on Xbox, but it does definitely work on a Windows laptop. So yeah, check it out. Talk to you soon.